And now I just drove it for 5 minutes here and back. Now it's completely dead after I turned it off. Nothing happens. It's as if the battery is not connected. Well, welcome back to Living with a Classic, and this is my 1996 Rover P38 that I picked up 3 days ago. If you haven't seen that video, it was a great adventure. Drove it, bought it sight unseen, and I drove it 6 hours home with minimal issues, really. But now it's 3 days later, and we have issues. We're going to try and solve one of them right now, because this morning I tried to do the school run on this thing. We got about 100 yards before we turned around, and we got into another car, and that car also broke down. So it's not a good day today. But we're going to try and fix this. The other car was a fan belt that snapped, but or left the building. But on this one, I think we have some ground issues. We're going to have a look at that. And we're going to go through some of the other issues it has. We'll talk about plans for it, and also want to know what you guys think of the plans. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of the P38 and also what you think of my plans. But let's grab the multimeter and I'll talk you through what I think the issue is and what happened this morning. So while I open the bonnet, we can talk about this morning. This was about 6:50 in the morning. Put the kids in the back and sat in. Everything was fine. Interior lights and everything were really bright. It started right up. I put it in reverse and it's backed out. And then when I turned on the road, I put on the heated front windshield and I put on windshield wipers and main beams. As soon as I clicked on the main beams, my rev counter dropped down to 0. It came back again. I don't feel like the engine died. That just dropped. And when that came back, it sort of felt like the system rebooted. Then my ABS and traction light was on and I got traction failure right there in the middle. So I think that was a voltage issue. The headlights did not seem very bright or anything like that. When I drove home, it was charging fine the whole time. I mean, it wouldn't get here otherwise. We thought we had a charging issue when we had the car up there because on the OBD2 scanner, the Nanocom, it showed just 12.4 volts or something. But when we put a multimeter on here and it was running, we had 13.68 at idle with lights and everything on. So that was fine. What I think is, I think I may have a grounding issue because the ground cable goes here. It goes to the chassis here. And then it goes to the engine block or to what holds the accessories here. So I think we're going to clean all these points, but first let's start it up and see if it's charging. I did check before, it's about 12.2 volts in the battery at the moment, but we'll fire it up, see if it's charging. We'll put some loads on it, headlights, things like that, see if it stops charging. It could just be that this morning, and I do have a bad ground, and when it's dry like this, it's fine. But in the morning, it was so foggy and everything. The car looked like someone just like dropped it in the pool and brought it back up. Like that's what it's like up here on the mountains in the fall. So my guess is that everything was just covered in water in here. And that could have been the issue. Got the keys. I put a multimeter in there earlier. Let's make sure the parking brake is on. So you see it fires right up. ABS is always on until you start rolling. Traction control is on sometimes and then it goes off after a little while. But let us bring a window down just so we don't lock the keys in the car by mistake. Let's go and check if it's charging. You heard that, it fired up right away. It didn't crank over slowly or anything like that. So the battery is also brand new. $13.7 at idle is really, really good. So let's turn on some accessories. We can start with headlights. And let's see what it does then. still 13.7. Let us turn on that heated front screen, which is a feature I love on cars. Look at that. You see that? It just disappeared and then it came back. And then that thing turns off. So we'll do that again. It disappears. Let's see if we can read the voltage really quickly. 13. It didn't have time to go down that far, but I think we've come across something. Let us see if we just turn on the main beams. You see how it blips down there when you do that? I think for a short brief, we have something going on. But this is fan. Yeah. We probably have something. I think we have a bad earth. Let's switch it off for now. We'll take the window up and everything. We'll switch it off. I'm going to disconnect the battery, get some tools, disconnect that earth, clean it up, and see if that improves things. While disconnecting the battery, I'm going to remove these two extra cables on there. They go to some relay down here, which I think this car's had extra lights, light bar or something fitted. It's been removed. I'm going to keep it here. I'm just going to zip tie it in place because I may use that to fit extra lights in the future. That's something we're going to see how the main beams are up here in the winter time. Things are not, yeah. I live out in the middle of nowhere. It's nice to have a lot of lights. I want to do this as well because I'm guessing this cable is supposed to go through that cover. So we're going to fix that. Then I think I need to grab some different tools. Check that earth point there because that goes straight to the chassis. And then we have this one here. I've read somewhere that people have actually added extra grounds to these and that my temperature gauge issue could be a bad ground as well. That's one thing I noticed this morning that, I mean, I didn't get far. I got like down this road, like to where I'm pointing at the end right there. And then the temperature gauge went up to the max like it's done before. And I think that's a ground issue because it definitely wasn't up to temperature. When this gauge all the way home, when it's up on the max on the OBD2, we're at like 86 degrees. So it doesn't get hot. So I think we have a bad ground, probably a bad engine ground. So if just cleaning up doesn't help, I may add an extra ground cable, possibly from the chassis up directly to the alternator, or maybe, I don't know, directly to the battery. We'll figure that out. But let me get some tools, get this off, see if it's really corroded, put it all back together. Hopefully we have some improvement. A slight issue here. This is the cable that goes from the ground of the engine to the chassis. It was pretty much already rounded off there. I tried a little bit. That's really stuck there. I don't want to ruin it anymore because I don't have any bolt or anything. But here, as you can see, it's really, really dirty and oily and grimy on the chassis. So I think we're going to, because I don't think there's actually a connection issue there, because otherwise I wouldn't get perfect voltage out of the battery, but I think I have low voltage going into the car. So the chassis is a problem. So I have a wire brush. We'll clean this up, clean up these, put that back together, see if that helps. And if it does, I think in the future I'm actually going to add another ground cable. If I can't get this one off, we'll add another one up here maybe somewhere, or somewhere else on the engine to the chassis, maybe on the other side. We'll see. But I think this might be our issue right here. There we go. Really nice and shiny in there. Big area for it. I cleaned these up as well. They're all nice and shiny. They really weren't that bad. I think the issue was more the connection between these and the chassis, which makes sense. So if this fixes it, I probably still want to add an extra chassis ground somewhere, but because this looks a little thin. But we'll put it back together, start it up, and see if it behaves a bit better. Well, it's the next day, and I was going to record that I had fixed something, because yesterday I filmed and I cleaned those grounds, and I went out later that night and I tried things out, tried main beams and everything. I had a heated front screen on, heated rear screen on. It was fine, charging perfectly. Now I'm going to try it again because it was too dark to film, to show you guys. It's acting up a little bit with the same thing again. Probably have some other grounding issues. So I just fired it up a couple minutes ago, and I'll show you guys it does it if you're sort of idling, but I idled in gear yesterday with all those things on. It was fine. So quite strange, but let me show you on the dash here. So we'll turn on the headlights. That is just the bulb failure. Sorry, someone put some LED bulbs in some places. ABS, like I said, it's just when you drive away that goes away. Let us try. Did you see that blip when I turned on the main beams? They're nice and bright though. If I hold the throttle up, maybe 50. See that blip? And you get a gearbox fault. So there's something going on when you put a big load on it. And it's not doing it the whole time. It wasn't doing it the whole time driving home. It wasn't doing it yesterday. You see everything sort of blinks. Same if I put on a heated front screen or something. You see everything sort of wants to die. I think we still have some sort of grounding out issue. There we go. Not really fixed, unfortunately. I have gone through and checked all the positive points. You have the BCM under the seat. I do get nice voltage all the there from the front fuse box, so that's fine. There's supposed to be some grounds in the A-pillars. I think that might be something I'm going to check out, but the weather's just getting too bad now. And now I just drove it for 5 minutes here and back. Now it's completely dead after I turned it off. Nothing happens. It's as if the battery is not connected. And I just went out when it was still running and I checked it's charging. It's charging, the grounded chassis is good and everything. This is a very strange issue. All right, it's the next day. We have a bad storm coming, so sorry about the wind. I'll do the best I can. It's also really cold. It's 0 degrees Celsius, and with the wind chill, I think we're like -7, -10. It's really cold. I want to test the battery. It's been disconnected overnight. I've also done some other things in the car, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but we'll do a battery test. It's a regular battery. Let's see. It is rated in EN. There we go. It is 700. Like I said, this battery is new, but you never know. Oh, it's so cold. Battery good. Helps. The charge is a little low. We may try this battery again after it's been charged. That could be our issue, but let me go and show you some other things. Once again, I'm so sorry about the wind. Can't do anything. It's really windy. I've read through a lot of forum posts. Some people have had issues with the radio. That's like the only thing that really changed in the car. I put in a different radio before driving home. Some people have had issues with that sort of disturbing the dash and things. So that's what I'm going to try now. Other than that, there's supposed to be a ground for the dash, behind the dash somewhere. There's also supposed to be grounds and things down here. So those are things we could check. Probably not today because it's too cold. And I don't really want to move this thing into my workshop if I can't get it out of there. But one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect up the battery again. I'm going to connect up these two cables again, even though they only should go to the extra lights. They were connected before, so let's connect those back up and see if it's any better. Hooked up the battery, just locked and unlocked the car. We have interior lights again, so that is a good sign. Let us Put it in park. I just pulled out the radio earlier. We got everything. Let's see if it fires up. Okay. That is good. That we're going to fix later when we have all the windows set. Okay. That is a given. We're going to let this run for a little bit. Just charge up the battery a tiny bit. As you see here, 0 degrees. It's quite cold. Okay, traction light went off. ABS will go off when I start driving. We'll turn on headlights. Yep, the bulb failures, but that's just a stupid LED bulb. I'm gonna go through and replace all of those later. It's not doing it now. Heated front screen. See, it's completely fine. That's so strange. So now it's basically fine. Main beam's on, heated front screen. Let's put on the fan to max. You got to turn this one a little bit slower. I'm gonna take this apart, put some contact cleaner in it. I think we're in max fan now. Let's put on a heated rear screen, heated seats. You name it, we got it. That's all good. And let's also just reverse lights as well. And now it's completely fine. This is a really, really odd issue. What if it is that? That's the only thing we changed. Really, really strange. Really, really strange things. But I do think I do want to remove and find all the earth points and clean them all up. There's supposed to be one here behind the radio, behind the HVAC unit. There's supposed to be a couple down there in the A post, and there's a main earth by the BCM, and then there's one behind the dash. The one behind the dash I think could be my issue with the temperature gauge. Temperature gauge likes to go up. Wait, need to interrupt myself. I went for a little drive after the video. Look at this. We're at 87. Remember my drive home, I was always in the red when at 87. Look there. I think, see I turn on the lights? You see how it goes up into the red? Turn them off, and it goes back. Same if I put on here. I think we have a grounding issue. Sometimes it will go up into the red, sometimes it won't. Switch on and off the lights. So definitely, see that? Moves back. I think we have a grounding issue with the dash. This is going to be a good idea to go through all the ground points. First are the breakdown of this thing. I haven't actually wanted to drive it since I got it home. But I'm going to go out a couple times now during the day, just start it up, do all of these things, make sure it's doing well. If not, I have priced up an alternator, not that expensive, but I mean it is charging fine. 13.7 at idle, that's good. So really strange issues, and once again I want to say thank you so much for everyone watching the first video. You guys seem to really like this car, and I think it would be a good YouTube project car because I think it will have lots of issues initially sorting things out, but at least I don't know, I'm still positive about it. I still like it, and I still think once things are sorted, I think it will be fine. I was in contact with the previous owner, so not my friend who so my friend Daniel, he bought the car, had it just for a little bit, had plans on fixing things up and moving it on. He never had time, and I told him, you know what, I'll buy it. But the owner before that actually had it, I got in contact with him. He had electrical issues. He had that it wouldn't start sometimes, but it would just click. That is an issue that Daniel had when he picked up the car, and he said it was a bad connection down to the starter motor. He fixed that, and that's fine. It always cranks over. So this is a new issue it has, and that's why I was thinking the only thing that we changed up in Stockholm was putting in that radio. And there was an old forum post on the Land Rover forum. I've been through so many, just reading, staying up all night reading them, and someone had issues with all the dash lights gone and everything, and he'd gone through the whole car, he'd changed the BCM, he'd gone through everything, and then he pulled out his radio that he just installed. That was some cheap radio he put in. This is not a cheap radio, this is like a nice original Range Rover one. But could be an issue with it. It did have one issue. Every single time you turned it on, you had to put the code in, so definitely something wrong with it. So pull that out, and you know what? Let's restart it. Turn it off. There we go. You have all the lights off, all the lights on, heated front screen, heated rear screen, heated seats, rock steady. I mean, it's pretty much a warm idle now. What is that? 700 RPMs. In gear, that's like 600. I got the reverse lights on now. Yesterday it would die when I put the reverse lights on. And it's even colder and worse weather now. So, I don't know. Something has fixed it. But we'll see. I don't think it was the extra cables up there, because I had those still connected when it did this, when they got here. And so it might be the radio. We'll see. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, where we will do what I said in the beginning of this video. We'll go through all the plans for the car, but I thought this ended up being such a big issue, we'll just make it one video. So next time you see this car, we're going to go through the plans for it, some window fixes. I'll show you pictures of the new wheels I picked up. They're at a friend's place, and I can't really pick them up until they're on a parts car, and I can't pick them up until the car is completely parted out. But I'll show you a picture of them and have some other fun ideas for this car. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.